There's a version of loneliness no one talks about. Not the loneliness of being alone, the loneliness of being surrounded by people and still feeling like no one truly sees you. You've had conversations, hundreds of them. You've laughed at the right moments. You've said the right things. And yet, you leave feeling emptier than before you arrived. You wonder if something is wrong with you. Stay with me, because the answer is not what you think. Most people describe it the same way. They call it a glass wall. You're there, present, technically participating, but something invisible keeps you from getting through. The conversation stays surface level. Weather, plans, opinions on things that don't matter. And when someone asks, "How are you?" you say, "Fine," because you already know. You already know they're not asking for the real answer. So you perform. You show up as the edited version of yourself. And over time, that performance becomes automatic. So automatic, you start to forget what the unedited version even sounds like. Psychologists call this social masking, the unconscious suppression of authentic emotional expression in social contexts. Research on what's called self-monitoring behavior, a concept developed by psychologist Mark Snyder in the 1970s, shows that some people are acutely sensitive to social cues. They constantly scan the room. They calibrate. They adjust. They are remarkably good at fitting in, and remarkably alone because of it. Before you conclude that you're broken, consider this. The capacity to feel that glass wall means you know something exists on the other side of it. You are not someone who gave up on depth. You are someone who keeps reaching for it, even when it keeps not arriving. That's not a flaw. That's a hunger. And hunger isn't pathology. Hunger is a signal. It means something essential hasn't been met yet. Here's what's actually happening inside your brain. Human connection runs on a system psychologists call attunement, the ability of two nervous systems to synchronize with each other. Think of it like radio frequencies. When two people are genuinely connecting, their brain waves begin to align. Their speech rhythms match. Their breathing slows together. Their emotional states begin to mirror each other. Neuroscientist Uri Hassan at Princeton called this neural coupling, the literal synchronization of brain activity between speaker and listener during meaningful conversation. But here's the problem. Most social environments are not designed for attunement. They're designed for performance. Small talk is the socially accepted armor we all agreed to wear because it protects everyone from the vulnerability required to truly sync. And your brain knows the difference. It registers the absence of real connection as a low-grade threat. Your nervous system, through a process the neuroscientist Stephen Porges calls the polyvagal response, is constantly evaluating. Am I safe enough here to be real? And in most rooms, the answer your body quietly sends back is not yet. So you stay behind the glass, not because you chose distance, because your nervous system chose caution. So how do you move through the glass? Not by forcing it, not by performing deeper, but by understanding what real attunement actually requires. First, stop optimizing for likability. Research by psychologist Arthur Aaron shows that closeness is built not through impressive conversation, but through mutual vulnerability. His famous 36-question study demonstrated that two strangers could reach genuine intimacy in under an hour, simply by progressively disclosing more personal truths. The brain bonds through reciprocal openness, not charm. Second, learn to tolerate the pause. Most people rush to fill silence, but silence is where the nervous system checks in. It asks, is this person safe? When you stay calm in a pause, when you don't scramble to fill it, you signal steadiness. And steadiness is the precondition for trust. Third, ask the question underneath the question. When someone says work has been crazy lately, the surface question is, what's keeping you busy? But the deeper question is, how is that affecting you? One conversation stays horizontal, the other goes vertical. Depth is always one question deeper than most people dare to go. Fourth, choose your rooms carefully. Not every environment is built for depth. And spending your energy trying to connect deeply in shallow spaces will drain you without return. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's research on optimal experience shows that people report the deepest sense of aliveness in contexts that match their intrinsic values, not contexts they're performing in. Find the rooms where the frequency already matches yours. Fifth, allow yourself to be partially unknown. Counterintuitively, mystery sustains depth. You don't have to over-explain yourself to be understood. The people who will truly see you, they'll stay curious long enough to find out. Let that process breathe. Here is the mental model to carry with you. Connection is not a skill. It's a climate. You cannot force warmth into a cold room. What you can do is bring heat. and wait for the room to slowly respond. Your depth is not a defect, it is a frequency, and most people never tune to it, not because they can't, but because no one has ever stayed on that channel long enough to show them what's possible there. You staying, that's the work. Not trying harder, not becoming someone easier to reach, just staying on frequency. You don't need everyone to see you. You need the right few, and they exist. They are somewhere right now, behind their own glass wall, wondering the same thing you are, wondering why it's so hard to find someone who actually goes there. You are not waiting to be fixed. You are waiting to be found. And perhaps you are also someone worth finding.